Please like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
One of the earliest incidents in Nat's first venture into Las Vegas, he was offered $4,500 a week to play the Thunderbird Hotel. His road manager, being white, Mort Ruby, was offered a suite at the hotel for free during their engagement. Meanwhile, as Mort told it later, I had to go by cab to find Nat a place in the dirtiest, filthiest hole I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely heartbreaking. But I finally located a hotel on the other side of the tracks, assuming the west side of Las Vegas, where most African Americans had to stay at that time, where the woman had the nerve that owned the hotel wanted to charge Nat $15 a day. Now, the star, being Nat of the Thunderbird show, could not go into the hotel, gambling casino, or anywhere else in the hotel, except for a sitting room that was fixed adjoining to the kitchen. Nat decided then and there he would never play Las Vegas unless the conditions were changed. And basically, the change came 2 years later for Nat, as quietly it was kept, broke color lines in Las Vegas. Belden Ketterman, one of the few sole owners of a strip hotel there, wanted Nat in the trio. So Nat's manager, Carlos Castell, told Belden exactly how it had to be. He basically told him, we'll work on it, providing Nat and the boys can live, eat, gamble, drink wherever they wanted on the premises at the El Rancho Hotel without any prejudice shown against them whatsoever. Belden pretty much said, you got it, and he agreed. Now, haggling over a price on a later occasion, however, caused Nat to break another rule in Vegas. While Belden Ketterman asked for a returned engagement by the trio, a slightly higher figure than the first time, Carlos basically told him, look, Belden, we accomplished everything we wanted to do the first time and everything was okay, but now we got to get paid. We proved to everyone in town that there was no problem. Now we would like to have what this man is really worth. There was agreement among the Las Vegas hotel owners at the time that an entertainer couldn't play another place within a year of the conclusion of an engagement, and no other owner would solicit an act within that time. The Nat King Cole trio suggested that Carlos might try to find work for them up the street. Carlos left Ketterman and went up to Lake Tahoe, Nevada, where the group was appearing that week, and Jack and Trotter, who had just came out to Las Vegas to take over the Sands Hotel, whom Carlos had known back in New York. Carlos flew up to Tahoe discussing having the trio work for him. Carlos said, we'll come over and work for you, but you got a problem on your hands. Carlos told him. He basically said, you got this rule that you can't solicit an act that's played at another club in Vegas during the past year. Jack and Trotter just basically looked at Carlos and say, look, I came out here to get this place moving and to fill up a room. I don't care anything about no Boy Scout rules that they have out there or anything else. If you want to play it, I'll give you a contract. You come up and play it. Now, basically, the group accepted the contract, and that was the beginning of a lifelong deal between Nat and the Sands. For a time after that, Belden Ketterman basically barred Carlos and Tom Blackwell of General Artists Corporation, the trio's booking agents, for the premises of the El Rancho Hotel. I'm pretty sure he was very upset about that, or he was salty, but hey, it worked out for Nat. Now, all turned out not to be sweetness in the light of the Sands. However, during a pre-show rehearsal, Nat told his crew that they can sign their names at the hotel garden room for their meals and they would receive a discount. But when they went down to the garden room, they were barred by the maitre d', and they informed him that they couldn't be served there. So Nat's valet at the time, Sparky Travers, went back and found Nat in his dressing room, and he told him about the situation. So Nat got upset. Nat said, get Jack and Trotter on the phone right now. So a guy by the name of Harold Darrow, the Sand stage manager, was there at the time, but he wasn't aware of Nat's arrangement with Jack and Trotter. And he nervously tried to explain the problem, about serving African Americans in the hotel. Well, Nat basically told him, if you don't get Jack and Trotter here in 5 minutes, I'm packing up and getting the hell up out of here. The room began to clear of people. So later on, Jack appeared shortly and asked him what was going on. So Nat told him, what about my fellows eating downstairs? And Jack and Trotter say, yeah, they can go down. What's the problem? I don't see what the problem is. He say, well, you need to call these bastards down here and you need to tell them what's going on. So Jack went down there and straightened out the matter, and nothing flat. Nat had also encountered trouble at other hotels on the strip that he wasn't playing at. For instance, like the Sahara Hotel. He was looking at some other acts that he was just wanted to go there and relax. And, he felt like his presence was welcome at any other casino and club at the time. So he went there one evening with a group of 5 or 6 others, and they all had drinks and sat at the bar without incident. So the next evening, Nat decided to go see one of the other acts at the Sarah. So Nat and his buddies, they went over there again. This time a security guard stopped Nat at the door and told him, "You can't enter in here." So Nat was kind of, surprised and embarrassed, and he asked for the club manager, a guy by the name of Bill Miller. Mr. Miller, Nat was informed that he was in an important meeting and he couldn't come down to see about the situation. That was basically at 2:00 in the morning. So Nat went back to his own hotel and he canceled him out completely. So he was pretty much saying, "Screw you." Nat had called Maria at the time, and he, when he talked to her on the phone, he was deeply hurt. And, she said he would always call when stuff like that was going on and it would bother him. Now, some people would always say that Nat was an Uncle Tom, or he never stood up for civil rights and, that sort of thing. And that wasn't Nat's personality. He was an entertainer, and he wanted to be treated like a human being, and everybody else that was African American, he wanted them to have the same rights than any other person. So in those early days, that's what took place in Las Vegas. So before we close, I need to say something that might make some people uncomfortable. Like I said, in Las Vegas in the 1950s and early 60s, it wasn't just about glamour and neon lights. For African American entertainers, it was a battlefield dressed up, with all these issues. And like I said, Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr., Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, these artists just wasn't performing. They were breaking barriers every night. They can headline in the showroom, but they couldn't stay in a hotel. They can receive a standing ovation, but they had to enter through the service door. They could sell out the casino, but they wasn't allowed to gamble on the casino floor. That wasn't ancient history. That was within their timeline. That was within their lifetime. And here's what's important. They didn't fight the battle with social media. They didn't have a corporate diversity departments backing them up. They basically had talent, they had dignity, and they had to be perfect. Because of one misstep wasn't seen as personal, it was seen as racial. Now, let's fast forward to today. You have artists like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Chris Brown, Usher, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Glorilla, and the list go on. These artists can headline in Vegas residencies, own their own stakes in companies, walk through the front door, stay in presidential suites, negotiate 8-figure contracts, and they absolutely earn their success. And I have nothing against these artists. So don't get it twisted like I'm trying to pick on them, and that's not the case. But here's the truth. The ground that they're walking on was cleared decades ago. You can sing for us, but you can't eat with us. Imagine smiling on the stage while knowing that you're not welcome in the building once the curtain closes. That was a different level of pressure. Nat King Cole just didn't sing love songs. He basically walked into hostile rooms and forced respect with nothing but class and musicianship. Sammy Davis Jr. just didn't entertain. He challenged segregation by simply existing at the top of the bill. Las Vegas just didn't open up. It was forced open. And that's something we should never forget.